Have you ever needed to cut thin strips of wood like this on a table saw, but you're not sure how to do it safely? Well, let me show you one way to do it. Now, if you didn't know that cutting thin strips on a table saw can be dangerous, let me start by explaining why it is. When you're cutting a piece of wood on a table saw, you've got your numbers set up over here, right, to determine the width of the cut. You always want to push the keep piece, the piece against the fence. That's the one you want to be pushing through the table saw. So if I was to make a cut right now, I would want to be pushing on this side of the blade. And once I get to a point where I don't have a safe piece to push anymore, I go to a push stick and I use that to finish the push through so my hands are never too close to the blade. Now the problem is if I set this up for a 1/4 inch cut, so if I move this over, about right there, the problem is I can't push the piece that's against the fence anymore. There's definitely no room for my hands there, and there's not even enough room for this. I would cut my push stick in half on the blade. It just wouldn't work. You would end up pushing the offcut. You would be pushing the piece of wood that's on this side of the blade. The reason that's dangerous is that the piece over here is against this fence. It's not going anywhere. Over here, once the cut's finished, this piece is free floating. So it's over here, it's not pushed against a fence, it's just floating around. So if I push it to the right, I'm pushing it into this blade. What that means is as I push it over, it can catch on the teeth, either at the front or the back, and you can get a kickback where the board flies at you. Not a good day. You've probably heard never have your hands behind the saw. So if you have your hand back here and a kickback happens, the board's gonna get pulled that way. Well, guess what gets pulled that way as well? Your hand with it, right over the saw. That's how you see people get their hands cut in the middle and all sorts of horrible things. So how do I do such a small cut? How do I do like a 1/4 inch cut? I'm gonna bring you over here and show you closer on the saw how I'm gonna do it. The way that I'm gonna make this thin cut, this 1/4 inch cut, is I'm actually gonna use what's called a thin rip jig. What this does is it allows me to reference something way over here rather than my table saw blade. First, you gotta start with a piece of stock that's wide enough that you can get the cut you need and you still have enough material to the right that you can safely push it through over here. You'll see what I mean in a second. Now this thin rip jig, it slides and it's got this channel here. When you lock this handle down, this expands, meaning we can lock it into the groove that we have cut on our table saw. Step one, we're gonna take this and we're gonna slide it out until we touch one of the teeth on the blade. This is zeroing out the tool. Now you'll notice there's some marks over here. Each of these marks that go all the way through are a 1/8 of an inch, and then the little marks are a 1/16 of an inch. I want a 1/4 inch